Hey, my name is Simon, and my father has been passed away for more than half my life now. It's something I'm going to talk a little bit, and it's a very strange thing. It's something I quite recently realized, or it was actually before, like half a year before it would be half of my life. I realized that the day would come, and it's something that really I didn't take it well. It was very hard to accept that fact, and it's something I still think is absurd. It it really doesn't feel real. It's very it's hard to explain, but even though I'm 22 now, I was 10 and a half when he passed away. I think he was about 34-year-olds, 34 or 35. And even though I, I had 10 years with him, it's very hard to. It basically feels like a dream, almost. Like he never existed. And it's very rough to know that I will never really know him because I was only a child back then. I mean, a 10-year-old understand a lot more than you suspect, but I mean, you kinda need the life experience to understand someone to being just 10 years old won't give you a full picture of it. It will only give you a small understanding of someone. You still have a lot to learn by then. And the experience, it's interesting getting like ripped away from my childhood to some extent. Having to face reality really at that age. It have made me mature in some senses, but also immature in in a lot other ways, many other ways. because there's a lot of things I've been missing out on. Dealing with his loss, or my loss, rather. And I'm still missing out in a lot of ways because it still affects me a lot. I can't really live a normal life. I'm not capable of it. It's it was very hard accepting that I would never meet him again because I'm not religious, never been. I I mean, after he passed away, that kinda set it in stone that I would never be religious. It was very obvious to me back then that there is no God. I mean, I'm still open for the possibility, but I highly doubt it. And if he exists, or she, if God exists simply, I I have no respect for him. Or her, as I said. Like, if there exists a God, I doubt even gender is something that would matter, but that's not the point. I'll probably try to pray to God, then hope for a miracle or something. To have it undone, I guess. But I spent a lot of time fantasizing about, getting three wishes or one wish or whatever. I fantasized a lot about meeting him again, that it wasn't real. I I spent a lot of my awake time or yeah, and my dreams too, hoping it wasn't real. But it was as real as anything I've experienced. And it took a real long time for me to accept it. to some extent, I still think I haven't accepted it fully. I don't think I don't think it's possible to do. Not for me at least. I mean, it will always be some kind of hope there. But it's strange. It's life is strange. But I have also learned a lot from it. Dealing with something at that age. It's also an age where you actually start to understand things, and a 10-year-old is a lot cleverer than you might think, and what I might think too. It's they can comprehend a lot more than you realize. And it also made it very hard in that age. I don't know. It was also so early in my life, but as I said, still, I'm old enough to actually. I was actually old enough to comprehend the extent of it. And it's also a age where you start to understand a lot about life already. You have a lot to learn, and I also got a boost of reality, of life experience. Not what I wanted to experience, but it's something I still don't know now, 11 years later, almost 12. It's still hard to say if I would want it undone because now it's my reality. I mean, my entire life is based on this happening. It have affected me tremendously, and I don't know, even though I want it to be undone, I don't want it to be undone. I would rather it never happened, but if that is actually any difference, but I think it is. The way I see it, it is to some extent. But also, I don't know who I would have turned out as otherwise. I mean, I'm far from perfect. Very far away from perfect. But still, experiencing that have, as I said, learned I've learned a lot from it. It have taught me a lot. And I don't know who I would be if he were still alive. I mean, at least I consider myself a fairly good person. I'm trying, at least. But we all do things that isn't always good. That we sometimes know is not good. Just the fact that I'm not a vegan by now is just points that out because I know being vegan is obviously better than being a carnivore. It doesn't really make sense to eat meat nowadays. The world is overpopulated and it's bad for the environment too. It's a lot better to eat vegetables and grains, and if everyone did that, we could solve world hunger. But it's also that resources would need to be shared then, and that's hoping for a lot, but I don't know if I would be thinking about those things if it wouldn't have happened. And even though my life is very hard, I've gone through a lot of hardship. I've not had a worst life either. Very privileged in some senses, just being born in Sweden. But I'm in a way happy that happened because I think I've realized the full extent of existing a lot more than most people. A lot of people don't really think about society and their existence and the time we're living in and how they act fully. I mean, we all are thinking human beings, but a lot of people without experiencing depression and anxiety. Not everyone with those experience those things either necessarily. Realize how the quantity of existence or the quality maybe. It's not like I understand it fully either. I think it's very absurd to exist and I think about it quite a lot, but I still think I have, after thinking about it so much for so long, because back then it's something it really it really interrupts existence, experiencing something that traumatic, and I'm at least happy that I understand my existence to some extent, and I realized a lot of things that, for example, that I'm not. It's strange. I'm not afraid of death. My own death, at least. Others' death, I'm more afraid of. But my own, of course, I'm also afraid of my own death to some extent. But not too badly. It could be a lot worse, but in moments I fear my death, I realize that I'm actually fear dying. But I also know that death is salvation to some extent. All the hardship I've gone through and how much crap I will go through, everything will end, and when I die, it's over. My existence is over. And then I don't have to deal with all the trouble of existing. And I mean, it can sound very depressing in some sense, and it's it can sound a little bit fucked up, longing for death to some extent. But I mean, that gives. I wouldn't want to exist forever, and I know that it's also something I decided not to kill myself because I know I will die someday. My time is limited anyway, and it doesn't really matter how much crap I go through because one day I will get my relief, and in the meantime, I will also experience a lot of wonderful things. I don't really know if you weigh it up with the bad experiences. I don't know if it's worth it in some sense, but it's also just that there everything will have an end eventually. Even the universe will end. And nothing I do really matters too. And I also find salvation in that. Even though it's something I've also thought about and seen it as very depressing, that nothing really matters, that our existence is fleeting, that the universe is also endless, infinite, to some extent at least. Infinite isn't something a human can comprehend, but it also means that I will exist again. I will eventually live the exact same life somewhere. It might be billions of years and hundreds of light years away, thousands of light years away. And I might even be existing now in more form than one, doing the same thing. But time is relative, the universe is infinite. And I think it's, I don't know, it doesn't really freak me out for some reason. For some reason, I'm quite fine with that. But there's also, this is the only instance of this exact thing to some extent. Even though it happened, if it may happen somewhere else and at another time, or because, I mean, even the tiniest possibility, for example, our existence, if you multiply it with infinity, it will happen again. And there will be variations of everything. Everything you have done and never done will also happen. But that is, in fact, if it really is infinite, and we don't know that yet. But I also find, even though even though life on Earth isn't unique as people think, it's also very unique in that sense that it is a very tiny possibility of this exact world. And even though it will happen again, it's still a very long time until that. There's a lot of factors, a very tiny factor, so it will be so long between it or so far away. It's still something really special, and I think it's that it makes our existence still mean something. And I still think the human race have the capabilities of actually changing the universe to some extent. And I think we already do. Everything everything affects everything. The universe is one. It's one entire thing. And the domino bricks hits each other, so even the tiniest change in it will change the entirety of it because everything is a part of this universe and a tiny change in it will affect the whole. And I think that's pretty cool also. That even though we have choices and still don't have choices, I can control what I'm doing. I am the one I am, and what I think I'm basically not supposed to think, but I was born in this time on this planet with these genes, not genes as a pair of genes by DNA, and I don't know. I kind of lost my track, but I just think it's really cool. Oh yeah, not having a choice. I've that I didn't decide to be born, and ever since I was born, or even before that, things are kind of determined in what way. It's not, you can't calculate it, so it may be seen as chance, but nothing is chance in this universe. Not really. I think that everything makes sense, that if you had a supercomputer or something, you would actually be able to understand everything. And I think even that way you could perceive the future if you had enough knowledge. And I think you also could bend reality a lot, but it's nothing the human race will be capable for quite a while, but you don't know that either because technology and we as a race have evolved a lot just in 10 years. Just mobile phones and computers. And if we skip 20, 30, 50, 100, 1,000 years, 1,000 years is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. But to see how our rules, how we have changed, how the technology we have, there's a lot of things. And I don't know. Knowing all of those things makes my father's death a little bit easier. But because it also helped me realize that, that there was nothing I could do or anyone else. It just happened. And that's how existing is. Things will happen, good and bad. And you just need to try accept that. That's how our existence is right now. And that we're not fully capable of understanding our existence either, but as a species we have learned a lot about it, and I think it's really cool that at least we can appreciate existence and others' existence. How much it affects us. Yeah, I talked a lot about my existence instead of my father, but it's not that surprising. They're very entwined, and I also think it's a lot easier to talk about my existence than the lack of his. And I just have to take one small step at a time, simply. Well, thanks for watching. This video is, as per usual, way too long, really, but it can't be any shorter either, really, and I don't really care that they're this long. As long as I do them for myself, even though making shorter videos makes sense of getting an audience and a demographic. Even though I care about it a little bit, I never cared about it especially much. And I mean, it's not really the point of it, and it shouldn't be. But it's always in the back of my mind. It absolutely has its effects, but not a lot of it. Not today. Well, thanks for watching. I don't know if I will upload this even. I hope I will. I will probably think about it for a while. Do it a bit later. I don't think I want to do it right now. I also feel like I should rewatch everything before I release it, but we will see. Well, goodbye. And thanks again.